Hello friends, and welcome back to episode 10 of the hearse build. In this build, part of the build, we're going to be working on doing some of the murals, the clouds on the roof, and lightning strikes and stuff coming down. I did run into a bit of a dilemma with the car. I did some of that rusting and weathering stuff, and I didn't really like how it was turning out, so I went back and I sanded up some of that stuff closer to where the rust holes were, so it wasn't all bubbly outside of the rust area. And then I ended up repainting it, and I repainted it twice because three times. So I sanded it down, I repainted it, and I had the temperature in the room was too hot, so I had an issue with the paint drying before it was hitting the car, so it was building up and kind of getting clumpy, like it looked like sanding paper when you would look at it, like along the roof and stuff. And I ended up sanding all that back and then reshooting it again, and I made sure the temperature was, you know, within painting temperatures for the room. So we're going to get into that, and I've never done any kind of murals or anything with the Kaleido paints. I painted that first car, which was the Chevy Camaro, and that came out really good. And that was a test for me. That was the first thing I ever painted with Kaleido, or I'm sorry, yeah, Kaleido paints. I almost thought I said Gaahleri. So I painted that, and then I did some other stuff with it too, like just testing it out. So I stripped all the paint back off of it, well, a week or two after I painted it, just to see, like, you know, I threw it in a purple bath and see what it was going to do. And it did. It stripped the paint off pretty good and everything, and, you know, it all worked well. But we're going to get into using some of the Kaleido Colorworks, and for this I just got the basic set. It's the 12 colors, and it also comes with a reducer and a cleaner. Just a basic kit. And for the first half of the video, we're going to be doing, like I said, the clouds and everything. So I'm going to use probably the Kaleido Gray, Kaleido's Purple, and Kaleido Blue, and the Kaleido White. So this is K001 is the white. The gray is K010. And this is called Sky Blue, sorry. And that's K023. The purple is K008, and the black is K002. So those are the colors we're going to be using. I haven't really figured it out yet. I may mix some colors to get, like, you know, darker effect or lighter effect. I haven't really dove that far into it. I'm just kind of shooting off the whim here. And like I said, this is really just to test Gaahlerie's paints to see how well I can do with a mural. As I said before in my videos, I've always been a solvent paint kind of guy, and most of my stuff, like, you know, lowrider build and that is candy colors. And I know Gaahleri and Kaleido don't have candy paints yet, but I know they are working on it. Was in that one video I posted where they were talking about some of the upcoming things for this year was going to be some translucent colors. So until we can get into them, we're going to just try and do this, you know, like an old school paint job, you know. So let's, I think the first color we're going to do is I'm going to just kind of mist some purple in some areas, um, and that's going to be like from far back and just kind of offset where the lightning is going to be coming down, like the light's traveling further out, you know. So I got right now and we're using the Seeker airbrush. I do have the 0.5 needle set up in there right now, so I think I'm probably going to switch that out to the 0.3 needle, so we can do some detailed work with it. And then for all the murals and stuff like that, we'll be using the 0.3 millimeter needle. So we'll get you set up over at the paint booth and get all the stuff set up over there so we can get going on this paint job. One of the main things I forgot to mention was what I'm going to use to like do the clouds with and stuff. And I've seen a lot of people use like a sheet of paper and just kind of tear it. I've seen people use tissue paper towel and just, you know, kind of tear it and, you know, just get some different edges and stuff like that, you know. But what I'm going to use is these are like home cleaning sponges. I picked these up at my local store. This is just a couple bucks. It was a 3-pack, and I ripped it, and I got a few different patterns here to work with. I'm gonna try and put it back together there. So yeah, I just tore it and tore off some different patterns, and I really like how this effect is because, you know, it's so choppy on the ends and stuff, so it's a softer edge when you're airbrushing clouds. And airbrushing clouds in lightning is probably one of the easiest murals you can start out doing because it doesn't have to be perfect or even close to perfect. In fact, the more shakier your hand is for doing the lines with the lightning, the better it turns out, you know, because no lightning bolt is just a straight line, you know. So the more coffee you drink before you do this, you'll be good. Let's get into it. All right, so real quick, I just thought I'd go through and do a quick needle change with you. So like I said, we got the 0.5 needle in here. This is the new Seeker Advanced series, and we're just going to pull the tip off of there. I'm going to pull the back off, loosen up the needle chuck. I'm going to pull back on this just a little bit, about a 1/4 inch. And one of the things I noticed Gaahleri did with this is the 0.5 needle has a notch right there. You can see that's the 0.5 needle, and they also did that with the needle tip. See if I can show you that. That's the 0.5 tip, and right in front of my fingernail, you can see that little line going around it. That can help you identify them if need be. And then just push the needle out the front and pull it out. Needle's still a little bit dirty, but that's fine. And I'm going to get my 0.3 set up out of there. I don't know if you can see that, but 0.3 does not have the line around it. We got that on there. We'll put our cap on. My trigger popped out of there, and this is the Calm Island trigger. And one of the things you notice is there's that little dip in the back of that. That goes to the back of the airbrush if you ever got to put that back in. That was the first time this popped out on me. I'm just loosening up the tensioning spring for the trigger, because there's this little piece inside of there that moved on me also. I thought this was just going to be a quick and easy. Alright, so I got that realigned in there. I'll put my trigger back down in there. And this you can adjust for how much spring tension you want on your trigger. You know, if you want it a little easier to pull back or not. Ooh. Alright, so we got that in there. We get our 0.3 needle. You can see there's no notches in the back of the 0.3 needle on this. Just going to push that in there gently. Should probably put my glasses on for this. Alright, so just going to draw that up. Now we got to adjust our tensioner back up. And then we'll put our, make sure our needle's all the way forward. We'll put our little jam nut on there. Tighten that guy down. I think one of the hardest parts is trying to put this back stop on, because you got to line that little hole up with your needle. And usually it takes me a try or two. See, it's hitting there. There we go. Alright, so we had a little bit of a problem, but we got it swapped out relatively quick. Let's get set up at the paint booth and start painting. Alright, so we're over here at the booth. I did reinstall the rear door on the car. I put a little piece of tape on there just to keep that from moving. And I just shot some tape down the sides. That's going to separate kind of the sky from the ground line in the end. I mixed up about 7 drops of the purple with about 3 drops of the white and about 4 drops of the reducer. And so this is just going to be like a purple mist, and we're just going to kind of haze this over a few areas, just to define where our lightning strikes are going to eventually be. I'm just going real light. In fact, I adjusted my trigger stop back here up so that it's only about half trigger. Alright, so it's kind of hard to see that, but kind of see almost got like an X pattern up there in the roof, and it kind of comes down the sides, across the hood a little bit, and almost similar to the same pattern on the driver's side. And we got a little bit down the quarters of the back. So I'm gonna switch up colors real quick, and we're gonna get some sky blue in here. Let me just pause you and I'll bring you back. All right, so the gun's still dirty. I'm gonna put about 3 drops of the thinner in there, and then we're gonna put about 6 drops of our blue in there. Now I'm just gonna put my finger over the tip of this and push down to introduce the air, and then I'll just very slowly pull back on the trigger until it starts to bubble. You can see that bubbling up, mixing the paint. I just kind of go in here on those lines and just do a finer line that's closer in, just drawing the light to the center, you know. You can kind of see the light starting to come through there. All right, now this is going to be the tricky part. Me trying to use this, the stencils, and do the cloud work and show you guys. So right here in the center, where most of that blue is going to kind of be where the center of the lightning strike is coming from above the clouds. And when I'm spraying, I'm mostly airbrushing on this, so you know, just the edge of my fan is coming out around that. So I'm just going to leave this paint in there, and I'm going to add a little more white, and we're going to go in and just try and do finer detail and show out where the lightning strikes are going to be. And again, I'm just going to put my finger over the tip of that and just kind of let it mix. I'm going to turn my needle stop down. I'm going to pull back on this until I just get the paint I want. I don't like that thing wobbling around like that, and then it makes it harder for me to hold too. Got to cover my paint. I'm going to put a little paint cleaner in that cup so that I can use that for needle tip dry, which is common with any paint. When you're doing fine detail, you're going to get tip dry. So that's what we're getting so far. We're going to go in here and work with the clouds some more to make those more transparent. Sorry, I can't really. I mean, you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, but I can't really show you at the same time. Alright, so we're going to try and get some more lightning strikes coming off of these ones. I'm going to turn my pressure down a little. I was running this at 20 psi. I'm going to drop it down to about 18. Alright, so that's just kind of getting a defined area of where our lightning strikes are going to actually be. I think this one should be a little darker here. Well, a little lighter, I should say. Alright, I'm dump this out and we're going to switch to gray. Let's use a paper towel quick to clean this up a little in here. We are making a mess out of this guy. Alright, I got my gray, I just got to mix it up, so I'm going to pause you and mix that up. Alright, we got our gray, this is the K010 in there. There was a little bit of blue in there left, but I just mixed it. And got our cloud maker here, and we're just going to make some more clouds. And try to, stay within those lines that we made already. I'm not liking that color too much. I think I'm going to put a couple drops of the black in there. my little paint mixer going there. That gray is kind of bright. I'm going to darken that up and put about 4 or 5 drops of Kaleido Black in there, the K002. Just kind of mix that a little bit. All right. I'm starting down here on my template, kind of work my way up. This is just kind of, we're just kind of building the layers of the clouds. Now I'm gonna just leave that gray in there, and I'm gonna add a few drops of black just to darken it up for another layer of clouds. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good there. So now I'm going to switch and just go to the white, and I'm going to dump this out. We're going to switch to the white, and we're just going to really dial in the lightning strikes and maybe highlight some of the edges of the clouds a little bit. Run a quick clean through this a little bit, just get most of that black out. I go ahead and do this. I'll pause you guys and bring you back. All right, so got the airbrush all cleaned out. Um, the spring setup here is driving me crazy. So real quick, I went upstairs and I threw this thing together. Um, just a dowel, a couple pieces of wood, and a couple nails. There's still wood falling off of it, but I'm just gonna put some double-sided sticky tape on here and stick that to the roof. So let me get reset up here and we'll keep going. All right, so we had a few technical difficulties. The phone ended up dying on me. Got that recharged, and we're gonna get back at it here. And what we was gonna do in the next one is we were going to go with some of the white and just real fine detail, just try to do some fine line through the lightning strikes, and then introduce some light up under the cloud. I mix this up real quick and put a couple drops in there. All right, so we're using the Kaleido White K001. I did not dilute the paint, and we're at about 15 psi here. Just doing some practice strokes over here to try and see if we can get the detail in there. And I took the cap off. That will cut down on some of the overspray. I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can see this a little better. think right up in here, I want to put some underlighting on these clouds. That didn't quite do what I wanted it to. Let me try that with a piece of paper towel. Actually, I'm gonna grab a sheet of paper. Got some thicker sheets of paper here that won't flap around as easy. And those will give us a real tight, fine line. Ripped up some paper. Alright, well, it took us a little while to get there, but that's what we got. Let's get this cleaned up and we'll meet you back at the bench. Alright, so here we are back at the bench. Turn that thing off. We did all that airbrushing work with the new Seeker and the Kaleido Basic paint set, 12-piece set there, and this is what we come up with for the artwork for the lightning. I'm thinking that that look come out pretty good. It did take me a little while to get used to spraying the paint at a lower lower psi and getting the adjustment right for the mixture. As I said before, I'm used to spraying with only solvent-based paints, mostly lacquer. So to be able to do this with an acrylic paint, I think is pretty rewarding. And kudos to Gaahleri. Gaahlerie's calling this their a beginner airbrush because it's easy to operate, easy to use, easy to clean out, and I'm calling Gaahlerie's new workhorse. This thing it does the work. But in the next episode, we're gonna do the lower half. That'll be episode 11. We're gonna do some gravestones and things like that, tombstones, and then I'm gonna try and get a Reaper incorporated in the back there. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you're wondering about Gaahleri paints and their equipment, definitely worth checking out. That Seeker airbrush is $55 on Amazon, and you can use my code to get 15% off that I put in the description there. So yeah, go check them out. And till the next episode, you guys have a great day. Thank you.